after years later.
He is, I guess,
humble.
outwardly, yeah.
Yeah.
Dallas people aren't real thrilled about it. But we had a lot of other problems since then.
Continue, please stand for the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Thank you everyone for being here and those that are watching on camera. And speaking of the camera, I hope everybody at home that does watch us has better viewing. We have a new camera that has been installed. The problems that we have with the audio sometimes is usually not our problem. It's usually MediaCom if you watch that venue. Last meeting, YouTube itself was having technical problems at their end. So the camera has been donated by an anonymous person, and so we appreciate that, and hopefully everyone at home has a better view of my smiling face. So anyway, several meetings back I had mentioned that I was excited about 2021 coming for Hermann. That there was many new businesses coming and some very positive things going to happen with tourism and other things. Well, it's only the start of February, and just in the last week and a half, a few weeks before that, ARB signs used to be on 4th Street. It has expanded to the Bavarian Hill Shopping Center to a much larger place. The Quilted Bee quilt shop is also opened out in the Bavarian Hills Shopping Center. Uber Knock and Tasting Room is opened on Schiller Street. The other new quilt shop, I forget the name, something Owl, is opened on Schiller Street. And the bakery, of course, opened Sunday with a response that was phenomenal, and they will be open starting this Wednesday. So those are just some of the things that are already happened, and it's just February. Many of the guest houses and B&Bs have switched ownership. There's several other businesses and other things that are coming to Hermann in the spring and summer. I ask that you please support all the new businesses, and of course all the businesses that are existing. If you can, please shop in Hermann first. I know not everything is available in Hermann, but please support our local shops, stores, restaurants, and so forth. Everybody knows that it's really bitterly cold out. It is February. Apparently this is going to be with us for some time, so please look out for your neighbors. Try and keep your sidewalks clean if you can. And the city road crews are going to do the best they can to try and keep our streets as safe as they can. But undaunting job. And anyway, please be safe. That's all I really have. City Administrator report.
Yes, sir. So I give everybody a heads up. The water department's going to be installing water mains on both sides of Market Street from 3rd to the alley between 5th and 6th. This is because MoDOT's going to be doing an overlay on that section 19 down to H, and then from the bridge east on 100 to Reserve. Out in the middle of Market Street, there's an old 6-inch cast iron water main that needs to be abandoned. So we're going to put new 8-inch water mains on each side of Market, replace the service lines, so we don't have to dig up in MoDOT's right away after that's all done. We need to do this for a long time. As the mayor mentioned, I want to thank the street department for their work on the snow removal. It is going to be bitterly cold for the next few days, and think of all the city employees that are out in this weather. Work doesn't stop because it gets cold, and also bring your pets in when it gets bitterly cold. Other than that, I had a hazard mitigation meeting Tuesday for Gaston County, and our annual insurance audit is Wednesday. That's all I have.
Okay. public comments?
I do have a card from Mike Sloan, but it's in response to his items on the agenda.
So
You
you
just,
want to wait on that then?
I would suppose.
Okay. Okay, let's move on to ordinances.
Okay, on for second reading, bill number 2021-02, an ordinance to provide that the city of Hermann, Missouri will participate in the 2021 Show Me Green Sales Tax Holiday.
Any discussion?
I move Bill 2021-02, second reading.
I'll second.
Motion's been made and seconded. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried.
Next, on for second reading, bill number 2021-03, an ordinance to revise Hermann Municipal Code sections 605010, 615020, and 615070 to exempt vendors from the city's business license requirements and to impose a $10 fee on vendors.
Any discussion?
I do have a question.
Yes, sir.
A question has come up. Now, it says not necessarily limited to vendors at festivals or special events, but is this specifically for commercial use? I mean, this is something that anybody can get this and just do anywhere in Hermann?
Yeah, in other words, if one of the organizations wanted to do a flea market, let's say on the lumber yard parking lot, and they were bringing vendors in, that way those people do not have to get a license.
But that is a commercial property.
Well, it's a commercial property, but it can be, let's say, on the school parking lot. I mean, it can be on the parking lot of the old IGA store.
But not in a residential.
Well, this does not apply to the garage sales, where you can have the 2 garage sales a year. This is for usually multi dealers where there's a group, not just one, you know, wine and witches and thing that they do. All those people had to get a vendor.
Well, say I wanted to do a flea market in my backyard. I live in a residential neighborhood.
Could we maybe say that it should be limited to commercial or city property, but excludes all residential
Those
neighborhoods?
things are already regulated through the special event application. There's one for public property and there's one for private property. And yeah, there's some things that can't happen in residential zones, so that's already addressed through those applications.
Okay.
But that is in residential property only, right? So, I mean, if people don't see that in the private events, I wasn't sure, I had some of the same questions that Dave had asked, but also on the private events, I wasn't clear on what that would be.
Things that just like Bruce was talking about, if an individual went to host their own flea market and call people in, that'd be a private event because it's not city sponsored, or it's not My Fest, it's not Oktoberfest.
But could that be in their backyard?
Then you go back to, this does not address, everything zoning still is not being tampered.
You can't have a flea market in a residential neighborhood.
I'm sorry?
You can't have a flea market in a residential?
Correct.
Okay.
So we don't need to put it excludes all residential neighborhoods in this?
No, because the other ones cover it.
Okay.
I move Bill 2021-03, second reading.
I have a motion, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Motion's been made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried. Thank you.
Next, on for second reading, an ordinance to revise Hermann Municipal Code, section 310.070, operation of vehicles on approach of authorized emergency vehicles.
Any questions? I have a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion, ordinance 2021-4 be approved.
Motion's been made. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried.
Next is bill number 2021-05 for first reading, an ordinance to approve and ratify a lease agreement by and between the city of Hermann, Missouri and Ford Motor Credit Company, LLC.
I move 2021-05, first reading.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Motion's made and seconded. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried. Well, we need to do that one a second time. It's time sensitive.
Since we have the car.
Okay, bill number 2021-05 for second reading, an ordinance to approve and ratify a lease agreement by and between the city of Hermann, Missouri and Ford Motor Credit Company LLC.
Do I have a motion to approve?
I move the bill, second read.
Motion's been made, second please.
Second.
Motion's been made and second, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved.
Next, for first reading, bill number 2021-06, an ordinance to approve contracts by and between the city of Hermann, Missouri and Porlier Outdoor Advertising Company for promotional billboard signs.
Okay, I have a motion.
Can we have it explained why we're doing this so citizens know what this is for?
What this is for? The billboard?
They're for tourism, right? For
Yes.
tourism? Okay.
Would you want to come up and explain to them what this is about?
Jennifer and I can both do that. Jennifer has been working with me to get prices together for billboards. We do not have any billboards currently to get people to know where Hermann is along I-70 and potentially one up on 63 South. So many of our tourism businesses, our destinations are definitely wanting billboards. And we've been working on this for several years actually. So we want to increase our visibility with a better quality billboard and increase from what we originally had when I came on board was 2 billboards. We want to go to 5.
Any other questions? Since Tammy's here. Do I have a motion to approve?
If you would like to read twice tonight, we would love it so we could expedite.
Okay.
Thank
I
you.
move to approve bill number 2021-06, first read.
Second.
Motion's made and second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried. We'll do a second reading on that, please.
Bill number 2021-06 for second reading. An ordinance to approve contracts by and between the city of Hermann, Missouri and Porlier Outdoor Advertising Company for promotional billboard signs.
I move bill 2021-06, second read.
Motion's been made, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Motion's made and second, all in favor aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried. We will. Okay. Old business. Anybody have any old business?
I do. First off, I just want to make sure that when we start working on the budget for next year, that we include the booster pump station at Seattle. Secondly, that COVID numbers are down, but please continue to social distance, wear a mask in public, and wash your hands. And thirdly, please remember to clean up after your dog if they make a mess in someone's yard. Your neighbors won't call you out, so please be polite and clean up after your pets.
Okay,
I have one thing just to add on Susan's. I don't know how many people here have had their COVID vaccinations here in town. The health department, along with the ambulance district and the Hermann Hospital and Southwest Medical Associates. If I'm leaving anybody out, I apologize, but I've witnessed both of them doing the shots. They are like a well-oiled machine. They get people through, they get it done. They deserve our utmost respect and thanks for the efficiency in which they're doing it. It's absolutely amazing the number of people they're getting done. So.
very well said, thank you.
They did like over 1,000 vaccines in 2 days,
Yeah, they've really been pushing through.
and 11.9% of our county is vaccinated now, so we'll get there.
Okay, any other old business? Move on, new business?
I caught 2 residents in an act last week of being responsible citizens for our town, and I'd just like to highlight the fact that people do care about Hermann. And one person was cleaning out rocks and leaves from a storm grate along the street because he didn't want it to rain or there'd be a lot of stuff there and cause the street to flood over. And another person was just picking up trash, and she said whenever she walks, she always takes a bag with her and picks up trash. So I'd like to thank our citizens for being responsible and helping take care of our town.
Very good. Anything else?
I have one new item. I'd like to bring it up so we can think about it for a couple weeks.
Sure.
And this deals with the newest mandate by the CDC. And that requires that all public transportation people mandate mask wearing. That includes buses, taxis, share rides, trolleys, shuttles. They are mandated to have their employees and their passengers to wear masks. And since this is above our level of management, I want us to think about it, what we want to do. And if we do that, per our city attorney, we would have to pass an ordinance. And through the Gasconade County Health Department, that is, he's getting more guidance from the state, but if we don't participate, it could lead to warnings, fines, if there's complaints, and up to including business license loss.
Well, I can't speak for everybody, but I do know, being that the trolley is next to my business there, that he has purchased, I think he told me 6,000 masks, and he does hand them out to
I
riders.
think he said 40,000.
Or is it 40,000? I don't remember, I just remember.
It was a large amount.
So he is being proactive. I don't know about the Uber or Lyft, what they're called.
Share rides.
The share rides.
But that's something new, and I think we should talk about it and make a decision as the city of Hermann, how we want to proceed with this mandate. It's not a recommendation, it is a mandate from federal government.
I don't think you're right there, so we will discuss it, but I don't think it's a federal mandate.
Well,
I don't think they
CDC
have
is
the
a-
authority to do a federal mandate.
CDC is a federal board.
But they're not mandating. So are you talking about the Missouri State Senate Bill
No, this-
51 and 42, where they actually just passed a law stating that, or Cindy's working on that, where organizations like ours and the taxis and the trolleys are not liable for people that have contract COVID? Are you talking about that or something else? Because I've not heard anything about
Something
that.
this is by the CDC, which regulates the COVID vaccinations and all this good stuff. They are the ones that put out the mask. You can get the information off of the internet, cdc.com.
The CDC has the ability to mandate? I don't think so.
would, in your opinion, is that something that we should be concerned about? Making moving forward with it where it's on record as an ordinance? Or should we just?
If the Board of Aldermen or the city wants to require mask wearing on public transportation vehicles within the city, and if it wants the Hermann Police Department to enforce it with fines and tickets and things, then you guys and gal need to pass an ordinance. The CDC or the feds will get involved only if our local law enforcement asks them to, or if there is a breach of the peace or unruly activities going on that we can't handle. Otherwise, it's,
Right, I understand.
I think that's a scare tactic, and I'm not sure that that's what's actually coming down.
but I think, for if you take a Southwest flight, I do think the CDC has the authority, or the feds agencies do
Right.
have the authority to
Right.
mandate it
FAA.
there. But
Right.
not for Hermann Trolley or.
Well, as few entities that we have in town, I think if they are responsible enough that they should take care of their business and provide that, I don't think that we need to come down
Mandate.
and say you have to do that, but
As I said, it brought it out,
No,
food for
that's
thought,
right. Yeah.
investigated. It is online at cdc.gov, and they got broke down, and it does say what entities is defined as a public transportation.
right.
And Gasconade County Health Department's aware of it, and so is our department, Missouri Department of Health and Senior Services. Food for thought, and maybe in 2 weeks, everybody can gather their bullets and we can come to a meeting and discuss it.
Okay, do you have something?
I did.
You look like you do.
I
That-
Are you, well, on this?
forgot. No.
Oh, different subject.
Something else.
That's all I had, sir.
Okay, okay.
So, I'll let you all take one of these. We always talk about complaints and incidents. And this is a form for incidents, because as far as I know, we don't have any kind of form for incidents and reporting. And Marlon, I don't want to put you on the spot, but can you tell us what a complaint is and what an incident is?
Complaint is if someone calls in saying a piece is disturbed by music, whatever, they call the police. They dispatch an officer there to take care of it. I guess an incident is pretty much kind of the same lines, but like I've said before, if someone has a complaint or anything about something's going on right then, you can call the police then. Filling out a form and turn it in 2 or 3 days later, and I get it, then there's nothing we can do about it pretty much at that time. But if someone's peace is being disturbed or anything is going on that's breaking the law, they feel they need to call the police, then call the police and we'll get an officer there to take care of it. I believe their name if they don't want to, but they say, can you send an officer to have them turn the music down or the disturbance and the crowd's being too rowdy or something. We'll get there and take care of it, documented in CAD with our dispatch, a certain address, and whatever the officer found that he needed to do.
So if they don't want to leave their name or don't leave their name, is that considered a complaint?
Yes, if they call in and say, can you, we'll document it in CAD that on this date and this time, an officer was sent there because someone called in and we investigated.
Okay, and then, I lost my train of thought. So they can make a complaint or they can talk about an incident and you will show up and do something about it or talk to them or figure it out?
Yes,
Okay, and they don't need to leave their name?
not unless they want charges filed. Like I said, if your piece is being disturbed and you want charges filed, you have to provide your name because you're the victim, so you have to go to court.
So unless charges are filed. Okay, well, if that's the case, then
But
I
other than
guess,
that, if you call in to say, send an officer, it's 10, 11 o'clock at night, the music's too loud, I can't sleep, you send an officer over here to this address or whatever it is in city limits.
okay,
We'll put it in our CAD system with dispatch, we tell the officer to respond to that location, and an anonymous call came in, and they go take care of it and see what's going on.
okay. So if someone would make an anonymous call, then when we check on complaints, would that show up in the complaints?
Yeah, show up as anonymous, and then that address on this date and time, what the officer's deposition was, whatever, how you handled it for that date.
Good, thank you. We made this form up a while back and didn't do anything with it. I did. But if this is how we're gonna handle it, I don't think we need an incident form.
Well, by looking at this form, this is, if somebody's gonna take the time to fill this out, the incident's already taken place on a date that's not, where they can't go and investigate it, so this
Yeah, yeah.
would not.
So we don't need it.
The chief has said repeatedly, and everybody that talks to me, I tell them that, call the police. You don't have to dial 911, call 2211, talk to a dispatcher, they will dispatch a police officer. Bitching about it on Facebook
No,
or telling us a week later does no good.
nope.
Immediately. You have a cell phone, it takes pictures, it takes video, it records audio. If it's going on, put it on your phone, call the chief, you can send it right to his phone.
Okay, I
That's
just wanted
evidence.
clarification.
Okay.
All right. Any other new business? Okay, we'll move on to motions. First is minutes. Motion to approve the minutes.
I move to approve the minutes.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded.
Rick can have it.
Yep. That's yours.
Okay.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried. Invoices for payment.
Move we pay the bill.
Motion's been made, second.
I'll second.
Motion made and second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Pay the bill. Conditional use permit renewal for the Hermann Worst House, Mike's Saloon, outdoor liquor consumption. Mike?
Can I put this?
Yes, yes, it should be up there anyway. I didn't want to block your view.
So Mike
Barely
Sloan,
shows up on the new camera.
Mike Sloan, Hermann Worst House, just here to present myself for any questions, comments, or concerns on the 2 applications before you.
Oh,
Is there 2?
Yes, you have the conditional use permit renewal, and then we have the seating permit renewal.
I show no issue or complaints about liquor consumption. I will move to approve.
I would prefer to wait until after March 5th. On March 5th, we're meeting with MoDOT to have them look at the intersection there of Highway 100 or First Street and Gutenberg because of traffic congestion. So I would prefer to wait till after that.
What would that have to do with this permit?
Traffic congestion of people walking through there.
For, this is.
I don't see the connection.
Yeah, I don't see the connection because it's for under his pavilion there, or his,
They're not walking around with it, they're just
No.
right there under his
No,
control.
they're not. But my thing is people walking through there and it's crowded. And I would prefer to hold all of this up until after we see what the traffic flow shows through there with MoDOT.
I still don't understand what that has to do.
You have a winery right there, you have the tin mill, you have the brewery and all that there.
Exactly. And if any of them were here, I'd be asking for the same thing, to just wait until after March 5th so we can see the flow of traffic. And if there are ways to divert the pedestrians to make it safer.
I have a motion on the floor.
I move to approve.
Do I have a second on that? I have no second. So you're
So I'm
gonna,
done. I'm
No,
done.
you're not done.
no, he's,
No, I'm done. There's no reason to go further until we're ready, or until you're ready.
well, I think, I just don't understand.
I don't
I
understand
don't
either,
understand
That's got nothing
your
to do
thought
with me.
process on what you're talking about. Because
I want to hold this because of pedestrian traffic. There may be things that need to be adjusted.
one moment. Yes, sir. Let the police chief talk,
The
please.
only issue at that intersection, usually during the year, is the main issue is usually during Oktoberfest. I mean, just because of the large crowd that comes in that month with everything there, there's a lot, that obviously is a lot of traffic right there. But during the rest of the year, I mean, it's just average weekend, it's not an issue that I've seen as far as businesses or anything moving through there. It's usually just Oktoberfest is when we have that large come in every weekend. It's kind of just people going to all the places in that area. So I don't see the crowd size or anything being an issue during the year except usually Oktoberfest.
I feel with tourism increasing as much as it has and hopefully to continue, then we need to make sure that all of our streets are safe. And there was a complaint filed back in July about the smoke and stuff from other people that complained, so there were complaints.
This is an alcohol permit.
All this goes together, though. We can't approve one and not the other, because that wouldn't be fair.
Well, I think what we got here before is we had a motion made and there's been no second. It's not further discussion. We have to move forward, which means there is no motion.
Tricia, when does the permit actually expire, or has it expired? Do you know?
I would say the end of the month,
End of this month, end of February?
February.
Can't we just extend what we have, or like we did with guest houses, and we didn't approve them for 6 months? I'm not saying that for yours, but just till after we have our meeting.
So
So our
today
March
is
meeting?
the 8th, 8th, 15th, 22nd.
It'll be March 8th, would be the next time we met.
If we're not going to make a motion to approve this tonight, my recommendation would be that we set up an actual public hearing, quote unquote, for the next meeting. Because my position's always been, obviously, for whether or not you issue a conditional use permit, you have a hearing and invite everybody to say what they want to say, et cetera. I think we ought to do the same thing if we're proposing not renewing one. It's the same as taking it away. And we shouldn't do that without giving the applicant an opportunity to present himself at a hearing.
So will we do the same thing then to Tin Mill when they come up for renewal? Will we do the same thing for Blackshire?
Yeah.
Is
Or
this
all?
before March
Yeah.
5th?
All
Are any of them
together, so-
expiring before
Um,
March 5th?
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
No.
So what difference, oh, I'm sorry. So what
Do they even
difference?
have conditional use permits?
They do outdoor liquor consumption permits.
Most places are bars. This is a restaurant, so someone can have a beer with their food. They're not sitting there all day getting drunk.
No.
This allows them to have a drink with their dinner.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I don't understand what's going on here.
Yeah, I don't either.
Maybe we could approve the outdoor liquor consumption one, but I don't want to approve the seating one then.
Well, we can discuss that one when we get to it, but I don't understand the,
I think you got
The
the
reluctance
cart
to
before
this
the
one.
horse.
what's that?
I think the cart's before the horse as far as what Susan was trying to request. Is not the outdoor liquor consumption, but the seating permit and how customers stack up and how traffic flow is.
But you gotta remember, we've already approved the way everything is done there. So, I mean, we have approved what he's doing.
True.
He's within his legal, I don't know what terminology to use, but he's in business. We've approved it. This just does not make any sense to me at all. I don't understand why we would jeopardize his business just because you want to do a survey of traffic at an intersection that doesn't have anything to do with people sitting and eating in front of his establishment. It just does not make any sense to me at all.
They're totally unrelated items.
So, you all approved, I sent a letter to him on February 11th of 2020, saying that your outdoor seating, application was approved. We approved his current, seating arrangement just a few months ago.
But there were stipulations we not have between those with the smoke pipe and,
So, I can address that. The building inspector and the code enforcement officer have been out to look at Mike's place. There was some confusion apparently. Lee believes he told you that you needed a building permit and, for the smoker. Lee issued a building permit for the awning and the porch. That was fine, but he needed an additional one for the smoker, which Mike did not apply for. But Lee has gone and looked at it and thought the smoker itself was okay. There remains an issue with the flue. According to Lee, it needs to be 10 foot tall, and it is like 7 foot 6 inches. And the smoke is still gathering under the awning. And so the concern between Lee and Bob Sitton was that that might create some nuisance issues with the smoke. But yes, this board did approve his seating arrangement, his fence and his awning, and his porch at a prior meeting.
The motion that was made is still dead at this time. You don't have a second. I don't know why we're debating on the.
Because I want to talk about it.
And I do too. I do not understand the reasoning behind not doing this.
I'm just baffled, I guess.
Does anybody want to ask me any questions?
Yeah, I do. How long, you already have an existing one, right?
Existing
Outdoor liquor
for almost 10 years.
for almost 10 years. Why all of a sudden is this a problem? That's what I don't understand. And I've seen this time and time again when there's businesses here in Herman that are starting to expand and starting to make money, all of a sudden they get attacked. Why? Mike has been doing a legitimate business for a long time down there, and he's wanting to expand. What's that gonna do? That's gonna bring more revenue into Herman. And now they wanna attack him.
Okay,
If
thank
this
you.
person's speaking, shouldn't he stand up and give his name so that everybody knows who's saying?
I'll be glad to. My name is Joe Gleason. And I don't understand what the issue is here, why it's a problem all of a sudden. I don't understand. I'm kinda like with Dave and the mayor. Hell, if I could second it, I would second it.
Well, there's two issues here. The first issue is dead. So there's no sense in going to the second issue because of the makeup of this board. I have a lot of answers. I'm not willing to give those answers with the way this meeting is being presented in a not very professionally run. Biased manner. It's, you know, I don't need to make a living in Hermann, Missouri.
Did you get a building permit?
I have piles of paper over there. I have building permits. I have letters of appropriateness. Lee, now that's a good question. Finally, we're getting a good question.
Not for the what?
Lee and I had a conversation oh, let's back up. Are we talking about the first resolution, the first deal, or are we on the second one now?
I don't know.
Because his
I've known from
question
the,
relates to the second part of my sequence of events tonight. Are we done with the first one?
Well, actually, the building permit and that is not even, has anything to do with what we're talking
none
about.
of it applies to anything we're talking
I
about.
should answer that question.
and I
It
think
doesn't
part of
relate
the
to
problem,
this.
the second was asked for before we had a chance to do any discussion to get some of those answers brought up.
It's cut off.
Uh,
Man, it's terrible.
Okay, parliamentary procedure.
Well, one more thing. This whole damn mess, I'm on the Landmarks Commission. I am, I guess, a senior member of the Board of Aldermen. I've been in every meeting that Mike has come to get this done. Now, if there's confusion, I'm part of it, because I thought he had everything he needed to do all of this. I had no idea that there was another permit required. He went to these meetings, he asked, he had it. If there was confusion, he's not the only one confused. When I talked to our ordinance enforcement officer, he said, well, in order to have that, need that permit, you gotta do this, and it's gotta be this way. So there's several different ways this could have gone. But now we're back to the simple outdoor liquor consumption. I don't understand what the problem is with that though. As far as the seating permit, we're in the middle of a pandemic, folks. We're supposed to be helping these businesses, not hindering them. Our rules were written pre-pandemic, pre-COVID. Yes, we need to change some of them. His outdoor seating, Susan, I heard you say in several meetings, social distance, social distance. He's trying to do that. And we're sitting here hindering him. There's other businesses in town wanting to do the same thing. They're fighting for their very lives. You gonna put them out of business because somebody has a handrail attached? Come on,
As far as
let's
I
be
know,
realistic.
Nobody said anything about putting anybody out of
What do you
business.
think this is?
And my thought, David, is that we should be able to ask questions, express our opinions, not get upset, let everybody talk, and figure this out.
Well-
And the Board of Aldermen has the right to ask questions, to change their mind, and to make sure that we're doing everything right for businesses and citizens.
He's in the commercial district.
I know.
Nobody lives right there.
How do you
He
know?
wants to be able to serve an alcohol with a meal outside. What,
Or maybe-
I don't understand what the problem with that
The
is.
horse before the cart. I agree with Rick. But what do you have to say?
I don't really have anything to say other than if the board is inclined to not renew either one of these licenses, then we need to have a hearing where Mr. Sloan is able to present his seating plan and everything else, where everybody is entitled and encouraged to ask as many questions as they want so that he can answer them with a court reporter present. And then if the board is inclined to not renew either license, state the findings, so to speak, or the reasons, as the gentleman put it earlier, if it was renewed 7 times in a row, why isn't it being renewed this time? I think the judge would probably ask the same question.
Can we do like we did in the past? Can we just extend what he has now and then have the meeting?
Well, that's why I asked
I want-
Tricia when it actually expired, so that he's not running the risk of
Exactly.
operating without a permit.
Exactly.
If it's,
I won't accept an extension. It's either all or none.
if the permit, when does it expire, the 24th?
28th, end of the month.
28th, so if we have this hearing meeting on the 22nd, well, then we're still in time.
I say just present the motion again.
I don't know if we can, parliamentary procedure, I'm trying to,
You gotta finish the one that's already out here.
I made the motion, somebody's gotta second it or it dies.
Right.
Then I'll second.
okay, I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, all those opposed,
Nay.
so
You break the time,
I
Mr.
break the tie. Well, I'm an aye because I think we need to support our local businesses, whether it's Mike or anybody else, to the fullest extent. And the main reason I'm going with it is I just don't understand what your request has to do with any of this. That, I'm sorry, I don't get it.
It's okay.
So,
That's been passed, but I do wanna put some input here, is that Susan had alluded to, and I wanna make sure that we as a board of aldermen have the right to ask questions. What we did yesteryears doesn't really make sure that it's good today. I know Tricia said that the BOA had approved the seating. I didn't, I've been here 2 years. I haven't seen except the new one that was sent out for this meeting.
You haven't seen the new one that was sent out for this meeting?
The one you sent out is the newest one I've
That's right,
seen.
he got the formal drawing, but last time in March, when we just renewed this, you all approved the fence, the attached fence, the awning, the porch. I think you voted no, but everybody else voted yes, if my memory serves me correctly.
And back then when we approved that, what was the seating? Was it for 24?
I don't know the exact number off the top of my head.
No, it's not.
Now we're moving on to the next part of this.
Which is the part that I think really
Okay.
fits more about what you were
Yes.
bringing up, and that's why.
okay, let's drop this and we'll move on to the outdoor seating permit renewal. Is there any questions?
I
Before
know
we move
that-
forward.
Go for it.
Well, no,
No.
let's try and do it the right way. If I
Okay.
can do it
Mike,
right
stay-
the last way.
step there. I think one of the things that Susan was alluding to, and I think it's a serious concern, because I know when I've come by during Oktoberfest and other busy times, it's a bottleneck right there, and people are walking out into the street, people are between where you have your awning and walking up those stairs and getting over on Gutenberg. There are always people walking out in the street. It somewhat tends to be a dangerous situation. And I think that's what she's wanting to do, is bring in someone to give us some advice as to what we could do to make that less dangerous.
Okay, so can I address it, or?
Right.
Well, I also, just to make a comment on what you're saying there, I understand what you're saying. But during Oktoberfest and My Fest, come down to my shop and watch the intersection at Gutenberg, same situation. You have tons of people coming out of the concert hall, the sidewalks are packed, you've got all these little shops and that there. You have the same situation at that intersection that you do down there. I mean, so I don't understand why it's all about that intersection.
No, I
That
don't
intersection
think
doesn't
that's
have a
the
four-way
case.
stop either.
Yeah, I don't think that's, I think right there at Mike's place, it narrows down to such that people are having to go single file to get through there or go out into the street.
Or
And
go
so-
up on the ramp.
It is
Or
just,
even going up on the ramp, before you go up on the ramp, you have to get single file to go up there.
it is just the opposite.
Let's let Mike
Yeah.
address it then.
So-
Didn't mean to interrupt you, I'm sorry.
Thank you. Thank you. So way back when, I talked to Mark and David, and we talked about, we're gonna start on Gutenberg. That's where the traffic starts. It doesn't start in front of my place. It starts on Gutenberg. In and out, sideways, whatever. So people were walking out the streets there, right? And so the reason they were walking out the streets is because it's my parking lot, and it's my private parking lot. I allow people to pull into and walk on my parking lot. I don't like it, because I have deliveries, I got things going on, it's a busy place. Next to my parking lot, there's about a 1 foot little culvert dip, what do you wanna call it? And then there's the road.
Gutter, yeah.
And so people walk in the road. So I asked Mark and David, and they came down, they drew the most beautiful set of yellow lines as a temporary sidewalk. Will people follow it? No, but it's there. All right, so it's there. The city's doing their job. They're there. So now they either turn right, go towards Hermann off, or turn left and goes up the little hump by Hunkins. Now, when you measure that little area by Hunkins, it's 8 foot. He's got a steps that's been there for 150 years or so. That step is at about 14, 15 inches. So now that 8 foot is less. Now when it gets to my place, and I made this presentation a long time ago, I don't know where you all were at, it opens up to 9 foot. So we didn't want a smaller funnel, we want a bigger funnel. So it actually, you're wrong, it opens up to a bigger 9 foot. Then it goes down to, again, I had this presentation made, you guys all approved it, 5 foot 1 inch.
I measured that. That's what the ADA requirement is for that.
Thank you. I measured it too, it is.
Well, you're up there at night measuring stuff, Jim.
You gotta do it when you have time.
Private property too, on my side, you gotta be careful.
12 foot is city right away.
No, you're on my property. I got cameras.
Does that answer your
Does
question?
that answer your question?
That,
You have all looked at this already.
Yes,
Yeah.
we have.
it answers my question, but I think that's part of the reason that Susan's always had a concern about that
Yes.
spot. So I went down to look, and when you're talking about it opens up, yeah, it opens up, but there's a spot there where it doesn't open up, that it does come
5
down.
foot 1 inch
Yeah.
or more.
But that corner, that intersection has been a problem my entire life.
Best thing to do is
Especially
put
at
it-
festival time.
And that's why Susan has tried to get somebody to come down.
And that's wonderful,
give advice.
fixing the
And that's what,
intersection,
that's
but
all we're talking about.
It was a problem long before Mike moved in there.
Right.
It was a problem when that was an Autoport store, it was a problem when it was a 2-story derelict building that used to be a bar there. It was a problem when that was an auto dealership where the Fest Hall is right now. It was a problem when that was a Zephyr Station where the Hop Garden is now. It was a problem when it was MFA over there instead of the Tin Mill. Nothing has changed
Right.
just because Mike moved in there.
Right.
Mike,
And it's not personal toward Mike, from Susan, from Mike.
apparently it wasn't, we weren't gonna renew his application
isn't.
because of it.
No, this is safety, and you know what, yeah, maybe back then there was a problem, but it's a lot worse now.
The best thing
And
that you
that
can
is
do is put a
because of-
full-time officer down there.
And the blessing is having tourists and having businesses that people flock to. But we need to make it safe, and that's all I'm asking. I don't want to shut anybody down, I don't want to take anybody's liquor license, I just want it to be safe.
That's gonna require, we tried to get stop sign there for years, and MoDOT didn't think it was necessary.
They
That-
fought us at every turn trying to do it, I think.
That would be, if people walking, if people driving would just stop so people can get across. But you don't, you got people wandering out in the streets all over First Street. But that stop sign there would help get the people across without anybody getting hurt.
And why not see if this man can help us, if there's something that can be done?
Anybody else have any other questions for Mike?
But even if that guy can make recommendations, we're still not gonna hold Mike up
No.
as far as getting this approved, so he can move forward. Because I can't think of any changes that will affect his situation.
I just would like to see if there's something, he may suggest something that Mike could do to make it better. We don't know.
I can move.
No, don't say that, because we don't like that.
I don't blame him one bit.
Yeah, but I know that he doesn't have to threaten things like that when
Exactly.
Susan's
Let's
trying to
not
come up with
threaten
some
and make fun of people, because that's
legitimate
not right.
alderman questions, or why not just you guys come over here and make all the decisions when you're gonna get
We've
tested.
already discussed all this.
But you know what, we have the right to ask questions and look for the best interest of everyone, other businesses and
Can we move
citizens.
on?
And there has been a complaint, and that was, it says there's no complaint, there was a complaint. So we need to address it for everyone.
And what was the complaint about?
The complaint was about smoke and bugs, and that was made back in July.
That has nothing to
And-
do with seating, what we're addressing.
No, but
It has nothing to do with what
But
we
what if
are
it's-
addressing
what
here.
if it's any kind of
Outdoor
complaint?
seating permit renewal.
Okay, okay.
That's one of those incidents that the code enforcement officer will be called on to.
On the smoke and so forth.
Yeah.
Okay, is there any other questions?
Bob Sitton has made several visits to my facility and has given me a letter. You guys probably have copies of it.
Discussion on
I'm sorry?
the outdoor seating or?
We are on the outdoor seating, that's what we're trying to accomplish here. There's no other questions?
I don't have questions, but I got some points
Points?
of interest. Of course, and Mike knows, because he accused me, and I accused me, pointed out the animosity he has towards me for doing my job. But according to our outdoor seating ordinance, and tag on what Susan said, that the outdoor seating permits have to limit adverse impact upon pedestrian traffic, neighboring businesses, and other uses of right-of-way. And as Susan indicated, we did have a neighboring business voice a concern about the excessive smoke. I know the smoker is outside the 12-foot city right-of-way. Yes, it does, because it's underneath a common roof, and it does bother the neighboring customer.
But it doesn't concern the seating. That's a different issue.
This is all, if you want to read the ordinance, it's right there in the ordinance, the first paragraph. So it does matter with the outdoor seating. It says, limit any adverse impact upon pedestrian neighboring business.
Did she complain about the seating?
She complained about the business, and the cup doesn't just include seating, it includes everything.
But you gotta remember, since she's made that complaint, he has redone his smoker, and that was when that other one was out there. So he has addressed that issue. Is it 100% solved yet? Not, apparently not with the smokestack,
It
but
is.
that, okay, maybe
Is
it
gonna
has
go
been.
up above the building?
Yeah, so what I'm saying is, that complaint has been addressed.
I want to hear how he addressed it.
How I addressed what?
The complaint of the smoke. Is your smokestack going to go up above the roof so
No.
that it doesn't go?
No, it does not go above the roof.
Then where's the smoke going to go?
Right up to the roof.
How? Because it's underneath the awning.
How it's a pipe?
There is a pipe
Yeah,
and it's hooked up
of
to
course
that
it's hooked
pipe.
up.
I mean, it's hooked to your pipe and it goes all the way up
It goes all the way up, about 20 feet.
into the air above your awning.
It goes into the air. Yes.
Above the awning?
No. I
Under
said
the
I
awning?
said below. I'm not cutting a hole in my roof.
In the
And
roof of the
based
awning.
upon what Lee had recommended, that needed to be the minimum of 10 foot, and that
That is
time it
correct.
was only 7.
That is correct. He
Okay.
recommended 10. It's not 10.
Okay,
Way
I
off-
can't-
We're way off the subject again. You're all talking about smoke
Thank you.
when we're talking about seating. And what I was addressing is the complaint. He addressed that by removing the portable barbecue pit, put it around the back side of the house. That particular complaint was addressed at that time, or a little bit later. He went through all the process to put everything else in. Let's move forward and talk about the outdoor seating renewal and get this over with. We have other business to conduct.
Yes, we do. I got some highlighted points, because this is from the 610-135 city ordinance on outdoor seating. I explained that first point. Here it is also, it's in section 3, subsection C. No object shall be permitted around the parameter of the outdoor seating area, which would have effect on obstructing pedestrian path. It says that you cannot have an object around the perimeter of your outdoor seating, which is, i.e., a fence.
Yeah, that's not obstructing the pedestrian path. That's just around your seating area.
It says no object shall be permitted around the perimeter of the outdoor seating area.
Which would have the effect of obstructing the pedestrian path, which it does not.
So that addresses Rick's concern. And it does, when we go from a 12-foot sidewalk down to a 5, it kind of looks like a cattle corral where we're bringing them in.
But he was approved for outdoor seating. He was allowed to use that area for
Do
that.
we require a fence for the conditional use permit for the outdoor liquor?
I'm sorry, what?
The fence is required.
Okay.
And the building permit was obtained for the awning
And the porch
and
and the
everything
fence,
else.
yes.
So you've got a permitted structure with the awning and the post, you've got a permitted, even required fence. So is the purpose of not approving the outdoor seating permit, the seating is within the fence, am I right, between the fence and the building?
Yes,
And
sir.
there was a problem before, which is,
Enclosed within that fence, so if the outdoor seating permit is not granted, are we thinking he's gonna tear all that down?
well, in his original deal, he had posts with a chain. And as patrons do, they want a little extra room, they move it out, and they were actually lessening the walkway. This is now, they can't move it.
The fence you have now is more sturdy, as what we had before for the previous 8 years was not, you approved it. You approved it, somebody approved it.
But I guess,
So-
the question is, what
It has to
does
be
not
attached
approving the
to the
permit,
floor, but it's
how is
just-
not approving the permit gonna promote a more orderly and roomy flow through there for pedestrians?
I can't imagine how it would.
When we've already got a permitted, allowed structure built there that is what's squeezing it down to 5 feet.
This whole thing is about a seating permit.
Well, and I wish we had the transcripts of past meetings, because you said you were gonna vent it up above your building so that
No, I
the
didn't
smoke
say
would
that.
bother people.
I didn't say that.
And you said it would be closed where the customers could see their food cooking.
And it is, they can see their food cook.
Yeah, but the door opens up, so-
It's a glass window.
and the door swings open that they can get to.
It swings open, yes,
So
sir.
what
But
would
I-
you do if the building inspector requires you to make it 10 feet?
It is of over 10 feet.
Okay, because when he measured it last, it was 7 foot 6 inches.
It is over 10 foot,
Did you do something since he inspected it?
yes.
Okay.
Okay.
There's a couple of, and there again, this is my prerogative of asking questions. And if I'm gonna be belittled by doing my job, so what is this?
You're not being belittled, sir. You just
And I'm
can't
just pointing out that,
come
you
onto
know,
my property after
Mr.
hours.
Police has
Trespass.
brought up, the fence is not required around there. Actually, our ordinance says no object shall be around the perimeter of the outdoor seating. Then also in here it says, no table, chairs, or other parts of the outdoor seating area shall be attached, chained, or any manner affixed to any tree, post, sign, or other fixture, curb, or sidewalk in or near the permitted area. And again, it says affixed to. And then also in section, I know we've talked about it, it does stipulate no cooking in the outdoor seating area. I know his smoker's in the 17 inches he has beyond the city's 12-foot sidewalk. But by being underneath a common roof, and with the smoke, the doors opening up on it, therefore, to my opinion, that becomes part of the outdoor seating area. Because it shares a common roof opening.
Doesn't the food go in and out inside the building?
No, it goes out, goes in on the outside, because I've
So you
seen
can
the
do
outdoor
either.
stocking it. So when you had the door up, sliding in meat, how did you do that from the outside?
Open the door.
Yeah, but that's what David just
Yeah, that's
asked.
what I just said.
And it says no permanent storage of chairs, tables, dishes, outdoor seating area, equipment is allowed.
Yeah, but that equipment is on his property. It's not actually in the outdoor seating area.
If you read further in that section, which is letter P, section 3, note allowed in the permitted area in any portion of the public right-of-way. are outside the structure confines of the building in which the restaurant is located. And that is outside of the structure where the building is located. So that's just points that I highlighted in there. I'm all in favor for Mike doing a good business too. What I'm trying to do is if we have an ordinance and it stipulates these things and we don't follow them, then we need to either rewrite the ordinance or do away with it.
Well, number M, I can fix real quick with the word permanently.
But it's
No tables or chairs or anything shall be permanently attached, chained, or in any manner permanently affixed to any tree, pole, sign, or whatever the rest of the nonsense is there. But, as I said, all this stuff was written pre-COVID. I have no problem with altering it. But for right now, we just need to approve his seating area.
If they're not up to date with our ordinance, I don't know how we can.
We've already done it. He's already got the seating area.
But
We're just reaffirming it.
if you have to notice, things have changed. The ordinances and laws of yesteryears and things have changed today. And if we just continue to just automatic renew things and not update things,
Then let's update it. But I think we've already set a precedent by allowing him to have the outdoor seating. Dave?
I don't have the ordinance in front of me that Jim's referring to, I guess I can get it. Thank you.
that's all I'm saying is, and I've said it for the 2 years I've been here, if we have an ordinance, let's enforce it. If we can't enforce it, let's redo it or do away with it.
So are there tables or chairs attached or chained or in any other manner affixed to a tree,
No.
a post?
Yes.
No,
Not tables or
The
chairs.
railing of the fence that's attached.
that's not mentioned.
Are there any tables or chairs permanently or affixed to a tree?
No.
A post?
Not tables and chairs.
Okay, a sign? Another fixture?
No,
No.
The curb?
no,
The sidewalk?
no.
Then how is he violating that?
Which one were you reading?
He's reading now.
Oh, section M, yeah. Other parts of the outdoor seating area. The fence would be part of the outdoor seating area that I don't remember the board ever approving. The last time I know
Okay, well, is the fence attached to a tree?
No,
Is it attached to a post?
yes,
Whose post?
several posts.
My
His
post.
post.
His post.
My post.
Is it attached to like a city white post,
No,
a city street sign,
no.
any city structure whatsoever? That, in my opinion, that's what that was meant to
Okay,
apply
that's
to.
fine.
That
So
you can't
curb or
have, you can't have
sidewalk.
your outdoor seating area and have a city white pole or a street sign or something like that and make that one of your fixed corners and attach your fence to that structure.
That's cool.
The purpose of his fence,
And besides that, if we already gave him a building permit for this structure, including the fence, that ship has sailed.
thank you. Move to approve.
Well, I have one more question. In July, you had seating for 24, and now you have 40, you have 44. Have you measured it out? Does it fit?
I gave Trish a thing back in May or June.
Yeah, and it's, I've got it here. This was,
And Trish, what was that number?
But
I
it-
had wrote it on there, 44 people.
Just so you know, this ordinance says the estimated chair count per table may vary within the
And
prescribed.
the process is this, what you have in your hands, is 0 people to 44 people.
and I just asked because in July it said 24, and now it says 44, so I wanted to
No,
make
it
sure.
says 0 to 44.
I'm still talking about from July.
I don't care about that.
Okay, I'm
We're
just,
doing
and
a
I know,
new-
and I'm just
new
asking.
process.
I'm just asking, and the flow in there and everything is good, and you've got it spaced out so that people can walk through there, and that's all I'm asking.
With emergency exits.
Emergency exits from the fence?
Yeah, in case they want to get out fast.
So they can get out on the ends or they can get out in the middle there.
Yeah, in case there's a fire or shooting or stabbing or something.
Oh, Lord, let's hope not.
Okay, any other questions?
I do have one question, it kind of segues to Susan's. On this new drawing, it's very nice, I have to admit.
I didn't draw it.
Anyhow, it's not.
Thank you.
You got down here the maximum number of tables, 11.
11,
Now, in your drawing, you have 12.
then I couldn't count.
And the maximum of 44 stools, based upon how you have it designed here, is 41 chairs. And the reason, I might be nitpicking here, but I believe over the 2 years I've been here, there's been a lot of things been nitpicked and swept underneath the rugs. I want to make sure if we approve, which I asked the same thing of another person, is what's on here is what it's going to be.
No, it could change.
And I know there can be a variance.
Yes, sir.
But if I approve this today, it says in red and white, maximum 11, but your picture's got 12.
How many trash cans do I have on there?
Right now, on here, you got 4.
Okay, so that's 0 to 4.
0 to 4 trash cans, seasonal. But that's the only concern I've seen. Like I said, it is a very nice diagram, perfect. But I did notice that, and I went, wait a minute, there's 12 tables, and it says a maximum of 11. Maximum means you will not go over that amount.
0 to 44 chairs.
Now, maximum number of 44 stools. But that was a comment that I noticed and it caught my eye, and this is the first one I have seen since back in August when we asked them for a current diagram, and that night you took a pen and drew squares around the round tables. And Mr. Politi even said it's been asked for a new drawing. That was the last one I'd ever seen at that time, until this one.
So there's gonna be 12 tables and 44 chairs or stools,
Could be.
right? Okay.
So you won't, yeah.
So the picture is different from the thing, but there are 12.
Okay, any other questions?
Move to approve.
I have a motion to approve, do I have a
Second.
second? Motion been, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
All opposed?
Nay?
Nay?
Okay. I make a motion to approve also. Motion carried. Thank you. Okay, we'll move on to item E, approved bid from Brooks Brothers for a pipe trailer. Can you explain what this is used for?
Sure. This is to put 500 feet coils of high-density polyethylene pipe on a trailer to be moved for either conduit for electric, gas line to be installed in the ground. It also has a thing called a line aimer, which takes the resilience out of the pipe and makes it easier to handle. You get people getting hurt with pieces of pipe when they cut it off. It comes up and slaps them in the head or wherever. So we've been needing this for about 20 years. It's in the budget. They get the $16,000 on the line item. They are going with not the low bid, they're going with a more local because of its proximity for parts and repairs. Instead of going to Iowa, we'll go to Troy, Missouri to get it.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions?
Move to approve.
I'll second.
Motion been made and second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried. Okay, we'll move on, no reports. We have a motion to go into closed session, please.
I make a motion to go into closed session
I'll second.
to, closed session to deal with matters relating to hiring, firing, disciplining, or promoting employees pursuant to section 610.0213 revised statutes of Missouri.
Motion's been made.
Second.
Do we need a roll call?
We have a second, now we need a roll call.
Aye.
Aye.
Everybody said aye.
Yep.
We're now going into closed session. Turn the TV off.
Put it on commercial.
Hope they have different music. You need to do that. It's halftime, Super Bowl.
Well, he's gotta be better than what they did.
I could wear a John my head.